just for our viewers who may not know, what is drag racing?
Well, drag racing is, it's like motorsport where you compete on 1,000 feet, and it's always two cars against each other. So you have qualification on Friday and Saturday, and Sunday is elimination day. And it's pretty simple to understand because the fastest car wins.
Okay, so you kind of accelerate to the finish line, which is 1,000 feet.
Yeah, the finish line is 1,000 feet.
And what kind of speeds do you get up to?
Well, the world record is up to 550 kilometers per hour at the moment. The fastest I've ever done was around 510 kilometers per hour.
But that still makes you the fastest woman in Switzerland, doesn't it?
Yeah, it still makes me the fastest woman in Switzerland.
So what kind of fuel do you use in the car?
Well, we drive with nitromethane, so it's like liquid explosion stuff, so pretty dangerous, but...
do you feel worried at all about that?
Well, I have respect of the car and what could happen, but I'm not scared because I grew up with it. So my father is doing it since 30 years, so it's kind of common for me.
All right, we'll talk about your dad in just a moment, but we can see the car that you drive here. Yeah. Just explain to us, why is it that particular shape?
Well, in the early 70s, the engine was in front of the car, but if there is happening an explosion, it's pretty dangerous. So that's why they put the engine behind the cockpit. And the shape is just because of the aerodynamic, and the car is pretty long. It's because of the stabilization. And
is it common to have kind of flames coming out the back?
Yeah, this is the burning nitromethane.
Okay, so that just happens.
Yeah,
that happens anyway.
Normally, every time.
So you're the fastest woman in Switzerland. How do you practice here?
Well, we can't practice in Switzerland. That's pretty bad for us. So the next track for us to practice is England. So far, far away from our home base. That's why we don't practice. We go to the first race and we practice in the qualification runs.
Is that common?
In Europe, yes, because almost every drag racer in Europe has normal business back home and works. In the US, you go and race almost every week, so you always train before the races. But in Europe, you don't go for training.
And what is the scene, the drag racing scene, like in Switzerland? Is it big?
Yeah, it's pretty big in Switzerland. We have a lot of drag racers. We have I would say around 50 drag racers in Switzerland. Not in the high classes, but in the door slammer classes, there are a lot of drag racers with their street cars.
And you're in the top class, which is top fuel?
Top fuel car is the fastest car, and the top class, the king class.
And how fast is the fastest car? I mean, it's 10,000 horsepower, is that what
we
you told me?
have up to 11,000 horsepower in the US. In Europe, it's around 10,000 horsepower.
Have you ever been injured as a result of your racing?
Actually, well, pretty lucky that I have never been injured. Also, my father was never injured, so we had explosions and everything, but I never got hurt or anything. Okay. Just a little headache.
And so this is your family?
Yeah, this is my big family. This is my race team. But as you already said, it's almost a family for me. I love all of them. They know me. Some people know me since I'm a baby. So,
and actually, you've been on racetrack since you were a baby, is that right?
Yeah, I was the first time at Hockenheim when I was 3 weeks old. So.
And this is because your father is also a drag racer?
Yeah, my father is doing it since 30 years. That's why I also started, because he was thinking about finishing and stop racing. And I said, no, I won't lose this family and everything. So that's why I started.
So what appeals to you then? It's not the actual race, it's everything else around it?
It's both. You know, when you've never been sitting in a car like this, you don't know if you like it or not. And the main part for me to decide to go and try was that I really liked those family and the passion from everyone. And then I said, hey, Dad, I want to try it. I don't know if I like it, but I want to try it. And he said, OK, let's go to the US and try it. And actually, it was pretty fun, so I decided.
How old were you when you did that?
It was 18 years old.
Okay.
Because my mama said education first, so that's why I had to wait.
That's a classic parent reaction.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is it like? I mean, you must be asked this a lot.
Yeah, almost everyone is asking me this, but it's pretty hard to answer this question because you're so focused on the start and you have this competition, you want to win. So I don't know how I feel in the starting line. You're pretty nervous, high adrenaline, but it's not like, okay, I feel like this if I start the car. It's more in the end of the race where you go out of the car, where you feel all the emotions coming to you. When you see the team driving to you, pick you up, and they're just celebrating the win. So this is the most intense moment on drag race.
And what was it like growing up with a father who was a drag racer?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't like it that much because I was a young girl with high heels and makeup and everything, and it was not so cool to go on racetracks every time. But if you grow up, you're getting older and wiser. So I really learned how cool this is, what my father is doing, and that he's putting so much passion in it, and that I just can learn from him and the passion he's having for the sport.
Do you ever feel pressure to do well because of, you know, the legacy of his career?
No, because he never gives me pressure. He always says it's okay if you make mistakes. You don't have to do it. You just do it as long as you want to. And that pretty helps me.
But you have certainly had to prove yourself as an individual.
Yeah, I had to prove myself because he always said, well, it is a little pressure because he's a 6-time European champion. So the eyes were looking at me, oh, next generation driver, she has to be good. But I think I proved myself. On the racetrack, I had some pretty good times during my license runs, and I'm trying to step in my father's big footsteps, but it should work.
And his career is not over yet because you're actually going head-to-head later this year in August in Hockenheim. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and we have the first father-daughter race in Europe ever. So me and my dad decided to run against each other in Hockenheim, as it is our home race. And it's going to be pretty interesting.
So how does that work out then? Because presumably, do you split the team in two? How do you do this?
No, Dad is coming with his old team, his really old team, where he started his career, and some of the new guys. And there is my team, well, actually my father's old team, now my team, working on my car, and we're trying to set up a new record for our team and trying to beat Dad.
And is there much rivalry between you and your dad when it comes to that race in August?
Well, he always says if I'm losing, I'm going to say, I wanted to let her win. And if I'm winning, he's going to say, she has to learn a lot more. But I'm trying to kick his ass to show him that I can do it.
So how does the family business work then? Because you obviously can't drag race full-time in Switzerland. So what do you do when you're not racing?
Well, my father is having a own business. He's building custom bikes, and he's selling Indian motorcycles. And I'm also working on his business, and the drag race company is mine, so I have to organize a lot of stuff for the company. And I'm working on selling bikes in my father's shop and making some administration stuff.
So where do you want to go in the future? Do you want to have this kind of balance where you do some things with the bikes and the family business, or would you rather kind of go all in on drag racing?
If I can, I want to go all into drag racing. It's not possible in Europe, but it is possible in the US.
And so that would mean a move to the United States.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to move into the next few years to the US with the dragster and everything, and try to get in there in the NHRA and make my way over there, because you can live over there. It's a pretty big business. It's like Formula One in Switzerland.
I was going to say, how does it compare then, this Swiss scene, which obviously is very, very almost non-existent, considering you can't even do it here, to the United States? I mean, it's obviously a completely different level.
Yeah, you have, well, as example, Fox Sports is playing every Sunday the whole elimination runs from the NHRA, so you can watch it all over television. That's not possible. Well, Switzerland isn't doing this, not even Germany or Europe, everywhere. And it's like if you compare it to Switzerland, it's in the US there's NASCAR, motorsport #1, and drag race motorsport #2. So Switzerland is Formula 1 #1, and a lot different ones, and somewhere there's drag racing.
Okay. And what about funding for this kind of sport, given that it is very difficult to do here? I guess it's very difficult to get sponsorship.
Yeah, it's hard over here because the media isn't doing a lot for drag racing, and it isn't that popular over here. It's much easier in the US.
Why do you think it's not so popular here?
I don't know why. Maybe because, you know, the TV started to show stuff about drag racing after my father won his 5th or 6th European champion title. Now where I am driving, because I'm a woman in drag racing, so that's not pretty common. And they didn't do a lot for drag racing in the past, but I'm thinking they're going on now. So I hope,
gaining popularity.
Yeah. So I hope we can get it on a higher level over here. But anyway, I want to go to the US. The tracks are better, so we can run faster times. You have 23 races over there and only 6 in Europe. So for my passion, I want to go to the US because I can live over there and I can do it almost a whole year.
And what about women in this sport? You say there's not many, but the races are actually mixed. It doesn't matter if you're male or female.
Well, there are women in the sport, not a lot, as I said. I think there is up to 5 or 10% of all the races all over the world. But actually, last year, the World Championship was won by a woman. So...
Is that the first time?
No, the second time. But it almost took 50 years to get the second woman to win the championship. So that's why I'm looking forward to doing the sports, because women are getting better and better in the sports. So I'm trying to get in there in Europe.
And would it cost a lot more money to run the 23 races in the United States compared to the 6 here, or is it comparable at all?
For a full European season, we count up to 300,000 Swiss francs or euro. And if you run over there, well, 23 races, we count up to $70,000 per race. So you can multiply it to 23 races, so pretty much money.
Yes, into the millions.
Yeah.
But then it's much more accessible through the sponsorship.
Yeah. The companies can set it into the marketing budget because it's, you know, it's not like if you're watching on Sunday television, you always see the car with your logo, and drag racer fans are they always buy the stuff that's on the car. So, yeah, they have a big marketing opportunity over there with drag racing.
And do you think you would have a kind of a unique selling point given the fact that you're a female?
I think so, yes. But, well, I want to go over there to get Europeans over there and show the Americans we can also do it, especially Switzerland, a small country, and also the Europe women's, because there aren't a lot of women in Europe, and I hope I can help them to get into drag racing.
And when you're not drag racing, what kind of car do you drive?
A VW Tiguan, Volkswagen Tiguan. I killed my BMW. So I had to buy another car.
Is that through acceleration that you killed it?
Yeah, I was thinking on the highway, no, I don't want any more.
Okay, Jndia Erbacher, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very, very much.